bring in the real deal squad. All right, we got one Democratic strategist surrounded by 3 flame-throwing radio guys, okay? We've got Leslie Marshall. She's a radio show host on the left, if you get right down to it. We've got Tanya Acker, the Huffington Post blogger and lawyer. And Greg Knapp is a radio host on the right, literally, and so is Steve Maltzberg. Thanks for being with us, folks. Steve, what do you say? I just think it's unending, this Obama intrusion on business.
Well, it is out of control. You nailed it perfectly, and it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Think of the fact that this man has been in office less than 200 days, and can you have imagined in your worst nightmares what he has done to the economy, to the wealth, to the markets, to business, to the banks, to the auto industry? It's unprecedented. It was unfathomable just a few months ago, and it's going to get worse. He's not stopping. As he said in Los Angeles at a fundraiser, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Tanya?
I love this ahistorical approach that so much of the right wing takes to this administration's policies. You know, what's interesting is that as we move forward, I mean, look, when Richard Nixon created the EPA, I'm sure people on his side of the aisle, even further right, were like, you know what, why is government getting involved in protecting the environment? When the United States passed the Civil Rights Act, I'm sure folks were like, why do we need to have a Civil Rights Division?
Yeah, but you know what, Greg? The Civil Rights Act was so that people could be free. The Civil Rights Act was for people. That, you know, business does not need the federal government telling business what to do.
Government needed to regulate that, sir.
Take it, Greg.
Government needed to regulate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, let's stay on the actual topic, which is the economy. And when you get the government so involved, and it started with Bush and now Obama, it's not right or left, it's right or wrong, then they start to make things worse, way worse. And I couldn't agree more with you, Dennis. Listen, you cannot have free enterprise on the way up and socialism on the way down, because you're rewarding the very companies that blew it. And now Dennis, that will not make the banks pull away from it next time, because they'll feel like they get bailed out.
Right.
So wait, now we got hold on one second. Now we got 535.
Let's let Leslie get on this. Leslie, I can't help but think that a lot of what government is doing here is no longer aimed at healing, at avoiding systemic risk. It's now aimed at finger wagging, Leslie, and making sure that they get their hooks as deeply into business as possible.
Oh, absolutely incorrect. This kills me. The majority of voters in America voted for President Obama to do exactly what he's trying to do. And if you expect in 200 days something that was messed up over 8 years economically to be repaired, please put down the crack pipe. In addition to that, if we look at what Obama's doing, if he wasn't doing it, you'd be complaining and finger wagging at that.
I would not be complaining at all.
And let us not forget, the best socialized program in America, Medicare, welfare, Social Security, SSI, etc.
This is crazy. Right? First of all,
FDR about
FDR way too big. FDR made it worse, not better. If you look at the actual facts, wrong. They deserved their bonuses. They needed them to keep them. Now, if they didn't want to pay them, should have let them go bankrupt, or they should have worked it out before they did this.
You know, Leslie, the people who are getting these bonuses at IG, they aren't the ones who bankrupted the company. Those guys have already flown the coop.
But that's irrelevant. When the government owns 80% of your butt, it does absolutely have the right to tell you whether or not you can give bonuses. And in my opinion, it's unconscionable for AIG. When you
Leslie, you're saying
Dennis,
government has the right to break the
majority of the majority of Americans make what? $24,000 a year.
What's that got to do with anything?
Working for that pittance.
What's that got to do with it exactly?
You said they're working for a pittance. I had a good chuckle on that one.
I'd like
Screwing them isn't good. If I work for AIG, they're not going to give me my retention.
Hang on, guys. It's talking at the same time.
Give me the bonus. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Nobody's paid what they're. Everybody can argue that nobody's paid what they're worth. When you go to the government and say we're broke, please help us.
Gary,
it's like us going to a bank for a loan and then saying, hey, by the way, I've got all this cash stocked away, and still expect them to bail you out.
The problem is, Gary, that Congress and most of the American public, they don't understand that a bonus is not something you get in addition to 100% of your pay. And then, oh, here's a little extra thing. A bonus is part of the 100% of your pay and allows a firm to rip you off and go cheap when you've had a bad year, right? And now we're tying our hands and making it worse. Gary, please just get something from Leslie.
The bailout money?
Leslie, the fact is they didn't go ask for more money to pay these bonuses, Leslie. They have the money to pay these bonuses.
They
Thanks
already
to
had that
American
money.
all that
people
government
are
money.
paying AIG right now. So when you say the American people's situation with losing their homes and not
All right.
having jobs
Let's put
and
this
not being
into
able to pay
perspective,
for their
Leslie.
health
Let's
insurance
put this
isn't
into
relevant, I
perspective.
disagree.
We're talking about an average in this bonus round of $60,000 per person here. You know what they spent to save a certain kind of
somebody who
mouse
makes
in Nancy
less than a
Pelosi's
third of
district
that
in the
is paying
stimulus
for
bill?
that.
But that's-
$16
hold on,
million.
guys.
Somebody who makes less than
See,
a
the
third
problem
of
is we're
that
not
on
getting
the
to the
average
real-
is paying
the
for their
real core
taxes
issue.
for that bailout. It's not fair.
One at a time. Go.
Is
it's
that
just
they're
not
not
accurate.
members of a union that contributed to
generous.
Barack Obama.
Oh,
That's the
Lord.
problem
But
with
they're
them.
members of a company
God.
that was bailed out by the U.S. government, which is funded by the U.S. tax dollars. That
I've
comes
got
from
one
the
other
people.
question.
Which
that
is
goes
very
right
important.
with this.
Leslie.
I got one other question that goes right with
I'm
this.
writing a check for wealthy people that
And
you
you
claim are
wanna
not
spank
wealthy
them
to
and punish
receive
them.
bonuses.
And
Then let me ask you
I'm not
this. Hold
getting
on.
a bonus this year.
Leslie and Tanya, then let me ask you this. Then people who are on welfare taking money from all of us, shouldn't we be able to make sure they're not buying cigarettes, they're not buying beer, and they're not on drugs?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In
That
case
was
they-
the
but a lot of
they
people,
actually
we're not
do
allowed
that.
to. That's
They
against the law to
absolutely
put them on a
should.
drug
Guys,
test.
Wait,
It's
one
against the
second.